We're joined in studio by Nadav Tamir. He is the former Consul General of Israel to New England in Boston. We're also going to go to the United States, and we're going to speak to Brooke Goldstein, Executive Director of the Lawfare Project. She speaks to us from Long Island, New York. But first, let's go to Washington and speak to Mark Mellman, President and CEO of the Democratic Majority for Israel. And Mark, let me just start by asking you, is the decision today by Rashida Tlaib to reject the Israeli offer to go to the West Bank in any way alleviate some of the negative reaction Israel's been facing among Democrats, or is that still a big problem for it going forward?
Well, Israel's decision to deny these two members of Congress entry to the country in the first instance was a foolish and counterproductive mistake. Having said that, I think it's quite clear that Tlaib's motives here were nefarious. She was offered an opportunity to come to visit her grandmother. She did not take that opportunity. It's quite clear that she's saying that it's not worth it to her to go to Israel if she can't agitate against the country. I think that's makes very clear what her motives are. They are nefarious, but that does not in any way, shape, or form excuse the Israeli government from its reversal on allowing these two members of the United States Congress, elected members of the United States Congress, from coming to the country.
Well, this certainly was a controversial decision both here and there. Let me ask you, Brooke, was this at just bottom a foolish decision by Israel not to allow them in the first place?
No, and I think all of the false outrage around this in and of itself is foolish. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. The Israelis, like every other state in the world, has the right to exert sovereign control over its territory. They made a decision, a calculated decision, that these two women posed a security threat, and then they denied them entry. Now, the fact that they were scheduled to meet reportedly with an organization with ties to PFLP, which is a designated terrorist group, is enough in and of itself to deny them entry. They were also being sponsored and funded by an organization named Miftah that spreads the libel that Jews kill Christian babies for their blood for matzah. This happens all the time. The United States officials banned the U.S. has banned Palestinian official Hannah Ashwari in 2010. Leila Khaled is banned from Italy. There was a time when Israeli officials couldn't even travel to Europe without fear of an arrest warrant. Every single Muslim-majority country bans Israelis. Where's the outcry there? So this is all just false outrage, politicized outrage.
Okay, Nadav, there you have it. Israel caught in the middle between those views. I mean, first of all, what your reaction to what happened today with Rashida Tlaib, and going forward, what should the government's policy be?
I think there are two issues here. One is our relations with the U.S., which I think is hurt by political calculations of both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. And the second is, how do you deal with BDS? I think that the way we deal with BDS actually helps BDS, because BDS is not going to threaten Israel. It's not a real security problem. The problem is that it's pulling away liberals, progressives who feel that Israel is moving away from their values. And when we curb free speech, or when we stop people from getting into Israel, we're not helping our case.